Arman Tsarukyan has now leveled up in the UFC lightweight division as he has now become one of the biggest and best prospects in the UFC if he was not already. I mean, people have been pretty much touting him as one of the biggest prospects so far in the UFC, but you haven't really seen it against that top guy. And now you get a guy in Beneil Dariush who does take him on in this fight night main event, and he completely shows that he is on the level of the top 5 in the lightweight division after brutally KOing Beneil Dariush in the first round. And honestly, this is exactly what I needed to see from Arman Tsarukyan. I know it wasn't super long, and normally you can tell a lot from a fighter from round 1 to round 5, but in this matchup, I really wanted to see him kind of take that next step in his career because a lot of people tout him as this big prospect. You kind of just want to see him take that next step forward, at least evolve a little bit more on the feet because you saw that Joaquim Silva fight that, of course, it was on short notice that he was taking a very dangerous opponent in Joaquim Silva. It was still an iffy performance where you don't feel necessarily good about it. Like, he clearly got the win. He got the finish in the third round, but you don't feel good about what you just saw there, and you do have some doubts, but this one pretty much just cleared everything up. He looks super clean on the feet. Again, only 27 years of age, so he's going to continuously improve, and it's only a matter of time before he's, maybe even 30, and he's a top guy in the UFC, and not even just getting into the top 5. Like, we're talking possibly champion status that he might get at this point. So Arman Tsarukyan has looked incredible so far in his UFC career. Just naming off some of the guys that he has beaten. Olivier Aubin-Mercier, I think is how you say his name. I believe he is the PFL champion. He just retired. He has a win over him, won that one by decision in 2019. Beat Matt Frevola by decision. Beat Yoel Alvarez, just completely massacred him like a complete bloodbath. I thought he should have beaten Mateus Gamrot by decision. A pretty fun fight to watch, but I think he probably should have gotten the nod there. Looked impressive against Damir Magulov, completely controlled him on the ground, a very tough opponent as well. Of course, Joaquim Silva came in on short notice and made it a little bit tough, which kind of left some doubts in people's minds, but then Arman Tsarukyan goes out there and lays out Beneil Dariush in a very, very dominant performance. And now, what is next for Arman Tsarukyan, because you have a lot of things involved. I believe Dana White said this kind of clouds up the title picture for the lightweight division, which is already pretty cloudy because we have no idea what's going to be happening. I guess we have the idea that Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev is eventually going to happen. I believe even Dana has said something like if we were to target that fight, it would be summer. He didn't really commit to it. He kind of said like we're not saying it's going to be in summertime, but let's be real. If Charles Oliveira is the next fighter for that lightweight title, it is going to be during the summer, is basically what he said. He's like, I'm not going to say the fight's going to happen because a lot of things can change, but we're probably going to be targeting the summer because we got a lot of stuff front loaded for 2024. So with Justin Gaethje winning the BMF title, there are rumors that he may be on the 300 card against Max Holloway or the 299 card. I don't know what card it was. I think it was the 300 card for the BMF belt on that card while he waits for the title shot for the lightweight division. Maybe that could happen, and that kind of takes Justin Gaethje out there. But what happens for Arman Tsarukyan? Because he is coming off a very impressive performance against a top 5 guy, Beneil Dariush, who a lot of people thought would probably give the toughest matchup to Islam Makhachev about a year ago. So there's a lot of things that could happen in this lightweight division. Personally, I think Arman Tsarukyan should take another fight in the meantime as we deal with what's going on at the top of this lightweight division with Charles Oliveira and Islam Makhachev. You do the rematch, you figure out what happens there, and then you have Arman Tsarukyan face a guy like Dustin Poirier. I believe he did call out Justin Gaethje in his post-fight speech. I wouldn't mind that fight because Justin Gaethje has good wrestling. I honestly would kind of like to see what happened in that matchup, especially with a very powerful puncher in Justin Gaethje, who has shown with his new patience, his new style within the last couple of fights, can be pretty impressive and can do pretty well. Because again, Dustin Poirier is one of the best guys on the feet in lightweight, as of right now, or at least a couple years ago when he did fight Justin Gaethje the first time, and even the second time. Like he's still a top guy in the division, especially on the feet. Looks super impressive there. I don't mind Arman Tsarukyan versus Dustin Poirier. Like, what's Dustin Poirier doing at this point? Dustin Poirier said he wants to be like a fight or two away for a title shot. If you want that to happen, you fight a grappler. Let's be real. Dustin, you can't avoid grapplers all the time. I believe Rafael Fiziev said something that he was going to fight Dustin Poirier or something, but Rafael Fiziev is going to be out for like another year, or at least towards the end of 2024. So that fight's not going to happen. Dustin Poirier, if you want a title shot, you fight Arman Tsarukyan. If you beat him, he should be able to get the Islam Makhachev fight, but then you have Justin Gaethje in the way. So he's going to have to wait a little bit. Dustin Poirier is going to have to put in some work. He has to fight a grappler if he wants the title shot, in my opinion. And I think Arman Tsarukyan versus Dustin Poirier would be a pretty solid fight. The thing about not doing Justin Gaethje versus Arman Tsarukyan is that Justin Gaethje is the BMF title holder, and you kind of just want to save that big fight for a Max Holloway or something like that, or a title shot, because he is kind of sitting in line for that title shot. So I feel like although Justin Gaethje versus Arman Tsarukyan would be a very good fight, I don't see the UFC necessarily using that fight as a way to make a number one contender, because I feel Justin Gaethje already thinks he's earned that shot to fight for the title. So I don't think Justin Gaethje would do it. I don't think the UFC would be looking to do that. I think if they're going to make a big fight, or the super fight Dana White has been talking about, it would be Holloway versus Gaethje for the BMF belt at 300. Arman Tsarukyan versus Dustin Poirier at some time in the near future. Maybe you put it on the card of Oliveira and Islam Makhachev too. You figure that out, and then you basically set it up to where Arman Tsarukyan can beat up a guy like Dustin Poirier, who has pretty solid name value at lightweight. Maybe one of the bigger name values at lightweight outside of wherever Conor McGregor is going to be at. So you can propel him off that, make the rematch between Islam Makhachev and Arman Tsarukyan. If Arman even loses and Islam wants to go up to welterweight or whatever, maybe you can do like a trilogy at some point, as Arman's 28 by the time that fight happens. So there's a lot of things that could happen. Let me know what you guys think about it down below in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time.